Okay, you want to start at the top? Then let's go. AEW World Title match: Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland. Um, this match was very good. This match was, if you want to say great, I'm not gonna argue with you. I thought that it had a lot of struggle, or it was put in a bad situation having to follow those two matches before it, given match of the year, possible front runner. Also, another match that's going to have a huge implication for the future of the company and kind of bringing the status quo by bringing Jack Perry back after he's been gone for so long. But the time was there. The crowd was into it. The crowd wanted. The crowd expected it. The crowd got what it deserved. The crowd was very happy. It got what it deserved. And the thing that kind of stuck with me was at the end of it, like Swerve's champion. They let out the pyro, and it's like, wow, we when he signed, to 26, 27 months ago, I did not foresee him being the AEW World Champion in that short of a span of time. But we are here, and it's because of the work that he has put in. And I think that I think we're off to the races right now, with a great champion to kind of get us further away from what happened with MJF at the back half of 2023, and onward and upward. And like I think that Samoa Joe did very well given his limitations at his age and the stage of the game in his career.
Lyric.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a great match, but it was very good. And I don't think that it had to be a great match.
Right.
After that card, you are really lucky that if the fans are still awake after that card. And the fact is, and Abu said this on Backup Hangman's side, but he was just saying, like, just noticing that after some of the most exhilarating matches, that crowd stuck around for Swerve. Like they didn't care really about the match or anything. They stuck around because it was important for them to see him get crowned. And I think that just said that's just a testament to just how invested the fan base was in seeing him winning. And so, like, honestly, was it his best performance in AEW? No. Was it Joe's best performance in AEW? No. But the match did what it needed to do. Like you said, I think that Samoa Joe's title reign, I really want people to never say the word transitional champion again. If I never see that phrase on Twitter again, it'll still be too soon, because Samoa Joe is living proof that a title run does not have to be a year long to be meaningful. Like him holding that belt for what, 4 or 5 months, single-handedly changed the direction of the entire company. So I think that before we just start getting all up in arms about this transitional champion words, I think, like, it depends on the artist. And John Moxley says it all the time: the man makes the belt doesn't make the man. So it's just, it really does depend on the type of champion you are. You can have a memorable reign that lasts 2 weeks, or it could be 2 years. So I'm interested to see what happens next. Obviously, we are it seems like we're on the path to All In, with Swerve facing Kyle Fletcher tomorrow. And I think it's going to be very interesting. More history is going to be made. So yeah, about the match, that's how I felt.
Yeah, I was front row, and this was a very classic story of, like, pretty much big man versus small guy. Aggressive monster heel kind of takes it to him, and then is the crowd with the babyface at the end. And I feel like we got a solid answer on that, with how everybody came alive. And I just looked at the joy that was in the arena, and from the people that were close to Swerve, the people that were just in the crowd. There was just so much love in the building, and you contrast that with some of the bullshit we see online, from corny motherfuckers like OG Johnny 5, who I've had blocked for half a decade on Twitter. Who else? Stephanie Hypes, Hardy. We don't care. You're not holding nothing back. The cheese board guy. You're wrong about everything else. Don't let us stop you, Chief. Stat guy Greg, I don't think the numbers are adding up for you. Alejandro, the New Japan reply guy, get fucked. Get the fuck out of here. Young Kings Wrestling, you'll never wear the crown. We're not worried about none of y'all. There's more people to name. I haven't looked them all up. I've been a little busy. But there are a lot of people that came out here and sold out, about Swerve Strickland. And on this show, I believe we had a clip in November of 2022 where we were asked, what is Swerve's ceiling in this? And never, and I mean never, in the history of this show have we been so correct. I don't like to take victory laps, too often.
You're lying.
I'm not that kind of guy. But I got two packs. I got 2 packs no Shakur for all these suckers and clowns that Swerve was reposting because he saved all those receipts. And when AEW started, it was crazy because AEW wanted Swerve from the beginning. There was, some type of mix up. I can't really, get into. I don't know all the details, but he didn't, end up coming in at the beginning. He ended up coming in when he came in, and as James mentioned, inside of like 27 months or so, he came out here and put it together. He did things in the company that other people weren't willing to do, which is make other people look good, which was go out there and be a good soldier, and also remember the name of the game in this business, which is getting over. You don't have to go over to get over. And he just slowly rose up the ladder, as, many people you want to bring up that, had a chance to do it. They didn't. They didn't come from NXT with that same attitude. They didn't come elsewhere with the same level of performance. So when I look at Swerve, now as the champion, I think he is just, I'm personally so happy for him. Like everybody knows, like, I'm, pretty cool with him and, been a friend of his for years. And this is just a joyous moment to see AEW's first black world champion, because that was something that it was almost like you would have thought it was a crime that it didn't happen inside of a month, inside of 6 months, inside of a year. And there was a lot of, detractors on the promotion strictly for that. And we know not all of that was in good faith. We know a lot of that stuff was horse manure that they were doing. And I want to give Lyric an opportunity to jump, on this, because a lot of this comes down to, dumb tribalism, wrapping themselves in WWE as the black company. If it doesn't happen in WWE, it doesn't matter. It only took AEW 5 years. I wish I could say the same for everyone else. Floor is yours, Lyric.
Thank you. I was about to say, is this the part where we're having this conversation?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's just go ahead and get into it. This is how I feel. I don't think anybody has to particularly like Swerve. That's not what I'm pushing for. I don't care personally. I'm not a wrestler. I don't know these people personally. Don't really care. Like, everybody's really entitled to feel how they feel. Like, if you don't like them, cool. This is what I have a problem with. People who know good and well that they don't actually watch AEW, saying, oh, I wish I could congratulate Swerve right now, but insert this, that, and the third. First of all, you didn't care. You guys don't actually care. Do you want to know why? Because I have been screaming into a microphone for years that y'all don't care about black wrestlers unless they're in WWE. And that's simply the truth, because guess what? Everybody has all this to say about Swerve, but guess what? Willow Nightingale is this perfect, amazing angel, and y'all didn't want to give her flowers neither when she wanted. You want to know why? Because you don't acknowledge accomplishments that don't happen in WWE. And this centering of WWE has, you know what? Everybody should go listen to the Voices flagship. Joe Lanza broke it all down. It's a PR thing. Whatever. But also, a lot of it has to do with nostalgia. And unfortunately, as a 5-year-old company, AEW will never have nostalgia to sell. And my thing is that if we talk about black wrestling needs to make progress, black wrestlers need to make progress, black wrestling needs to move forward, I just don't understand how that is actually going to happen if all of the eggs are in one basket of one company who is still doing the bare minimum. Like, literally doing the bare minimum. And I don't know a nice way to say this, but it's like so many people are fighting over literal crumbs. Even if you don't like Swerve, you should like what he stood for. Because guess what? The idea of Swerve is that a black free agent went into a company and they had a plan for him. You see these companies when they get free agents, when WWE gets a Cody or when AEW gets a Will Ospreay, real free agents, top level free agents have plans made for them when they walk through the door. A company looked at a black wrestler and said, we are going to build you up into a main event world champion from scratch. And we're not going to take 10 years to do it. That alone, whether you like Swerve or him personally, just the idea that could happen for a black wrestler, that should excite you. That should be celebrated. Because how many times in the very brief history that there have been black world champions, guess what? It's the here nigga damn title. And they are 10, 15 years into a contract. And it's just like, okay, we got a break between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. You can keep the belt for a little bit.
It's football season, you know.
Until Brock come back, I'm gonna need you to let go of that, boss. I'm gonna need you to let go of that in a squash match. We have seen black people humiliated, degraded, and treated like the absolute scum of the earth. But for some reason, I just don't get it. And it's not just me standing up for AEW. You do this to literally every black wrestler in every other promotion that's not WWE. You say Japan doesn't matter, Mexico doesn't matter, none of these other promotions matter. So I don't get it. And I think now more than ever, it's just I would rather people just be honest about what they're actually against. Some people genuinely don't like Swerve. Like I said, that is totally cool. But we're not having a conversation about Swerve. Let's just be real. I want people to be honest. We are having a conversation about wrestling and race and how black people have this long indoctrinated connection to WWE to where they can't see anything else. That's what the real conversation is about here. And I just think it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for all the black wrestlers, because I've heard from black wrestlers flat out say, like, I don't think anybody cares about me or my matches because I'm not in WWE. And I'm sure many of us have heard it. And I use the analogy, for example, last night on Keek's show about Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin came up in shout out to Keeks. Shelton Benjamin came up in this superstar draft class, right? John Cena, Batista, Brock Lesnar. He's the only one who doesn't have a world championship, right? Everybody says that Shelton Benjamin, he can't talk. He has no charisma. But guess what? They didn't stick him in Evolution with the Hall of Fame faction. No, they gave him a mammy character and a house dress. And like, for example, I think that was one of the things that I think was one of Swerve's weaknesses. Talking is not his best strength. But guess what? AEW found him the best manager in the world, built a faction around him. All the tools that are typically given to white wrestlers to make them stars, Swerve was given those same advantages. And the fact that people don't understand, like, this is so much bigger than any one person. This is supposed to be opening the doors for, we talk about free agency and contracts and like equity. Guess what? Black wrestlers get none of that pie. And when we really want to break it down, people want to talk about, hey, Mercedes is the highest paid female wrestler. I'm willing to bet she's the highest paid black wrestler as well. Not named Dwayne Johnson. Because don't. I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar she is the highest paid. Because guess what? I just don't understand. I feel like we're fighting for crumbs. And when you see somebody get a world title over here, you just say, oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so when is your next black world champion going to happen in WWE?
2028?
Well, it'll be like, that belt that's like the secondary belt that they have on the second show, on the B show, is they'll prop that up. That's what they'll do.
It's not even just that. It's like, great example, right? Because I don't watch WWE outside of big shows, right? But every single big show, I've always heard, oh my gosh, Montez Ford is up next. He done got in the booth. He done got swole up. He's an amazing athlete. He can talk. Does all the PR loops.
Mm-hmm.
He does all of the things.
The reality show.
the reality show. And guess what? He's still in the same position. We still saying he's up next.
He's standing behind Bobby Lashley.
It's downgraded. It's gotten worse because now he's in a faction. These ladies, and he's like one of three instead of just one of two before.
Exactly. And I'm just saying, like, my personal thing is like, I am no longer interested in up next. I want to see up now. Same thing, and we can even bring it back to Bianca because people want to call Bianca the female Cena. Well, guess what? Does John Cena go undefeated at WrestleMania and end up in a 6-minute, 6-woman tag team match? No. Surrounded by fried chicken? No.
Right.
And I think that Bianca Belair is the hardest working person in professional wrestling. Like, what she does, making her gear, always on the road, always doing media stops, reality shows, doing all the house shows, doing all the TVs, showing up to every pay-per-view, and maintaining a home life, she's absolutely phenomenal. But it's very clear that it doesn't. Where are their priorities? People like black people, they put all the black people in one match, two matches, one for the men, one for the women at WrestleMania. That's not progress to me.
It ain't even just the black wrestlers. They put all the Mexicans in the Mexican match, and then they put the Modelo spiked in the background too, like they put the black people with the gin and juice in the chicken.
Agua frescas.
They literally organize everybody by ads and race.
Now, go ahead. Continue your point.
I was gonna say, and my thing is, if that floats your boat, that is fine. I think now more than ever, what I'm most grateful for is that wrestling has options. I don't gotta watch nothing I don't like. You ain't gotta watch nothing y'all don't like. But guess what? I don't sit on Twitter on Mondays and Friday nights and on weekends being like, how do y'all watch this shit? How do y'all do this? I'll let y'all go in peace.
Running smear campaigns on people.
Exactly. Running full smear campaigns because guess what? When you really don't care, people who are truly unbothered don't gotta like tweet about, well, I would support if. Right. A lot of people's like, and the thing is, I've seen people say stuff like, oh my gosh, if AEW puts more into this timeless Tony character, I think I might watch more. Guess what? She's on TV every week talking all the time and nobody's ever picked it up. Like, just lying. Enough.
Lying. Enough.
Like, genuinely enough.
Cut the shit.
It's okay to not like it. It's okay to not like it. I think we should just be more options. Just be more honest. I feel like some people feel like they have to cover AEW. Just like I feel like some people feel like they have to cover WWE. I knew I couldn't be one of those people. I just think that people just should be honest. And we're never going to have a legitimate conversation about race and wrestling because people don't want to tell the truth that they don't care about there being more options.
Right.
They don't care about it. And you know, this is my last point. Then I'm gonna let it go. But I go back to like Brian Keith, right? And all these hashtags of like, sign Brian Keith. And how many black wrestlers have we seen that happen to? And people are like, oh, sign him. But when they sign to the company that you didn't want them to sign to, or the company that you wanted that want them didn't want them. And so now that they're actually signed, the support just poofs. It's very transactional. Yeah. It's very transactional. And it trickles down not just to the wrestlers, but the content creators. I've been told to my face. I've been told that, listen, going to Wembley, Tokyo, all that don't matter because you haven't covered the Royal Rumble yet. Or you haven't gotten WWE credentials yet. I've been told that to my face. I've been told that, oh, your work doesn't matter because you pick and choose. Just like y'all pick and choose? Seriously? I'm sure we'll get more into this, but that's all I have to say for right now.
James,
okay,
you've been waiting patient.
So before, because I got a prop joke. So as we talked about the Modelo Agua Frescas, and we said like, picking and choosing or whatever else. Like, hey, you got to be honest with yourself. Hey, I told Rich and the rest of the folks, some of the folks at Soul Suplex Network, like, hey man, I was in Target and it fucking got me. Goddamn AAA agent got me.
Listen, how much it cost?
It's like a 16 pack for like, I don't know, $16, something like that. Which is good. Which is good.
Hey, listen, Modelo be hitting. Hey, listen, I ain't got nothing against it.
Right.
I ain't
like,
got nothing. That no problem.
Right, so it's a long story. I would say for off air, but like, yeah, I was looking for something else and I couldn't find what I was looking for. But Modelo basically had effectively the same version of what I was looking for, and I'm like, you know what? Do I really want to get this after what happened at WrestleMania? You know what? Forget it. I'll do it for the joke. So yeah. So then one of them asked me like, "You gonna get So Simon asked, "Are you gonna get Wingstop for lunch?" And I did, just could do it for the joke, just to get a joke. So yeah, I'm shameless. I'm weak. I am weak. I'm sorry. I'm easily. Please don't do personalized ads. I will spend my money on the shit you send me. Don't do it. I'm a mark. So yeah, man, it's a lot. You covered a lot. You said a lot of things that I personally this is part of the things we've been saying on this show for years. At this point, over a decade. And like the picking and choosing, like just be honest and like just say, hey, I ain't got the time. And you know, when Mercedes came over and we had it clipped up, it's on YouTube. I said the same thing. Like, look, like y'all be acting uppity and too good for all this shit. Like if you know this is the person you really are a fan of, or whatever else, stick around. And if you enjoy whatever, and hopefully there's something else you enjoy. But I ain't gonna pretend you and turn up your nose at this, because look, I was one of y'all. When we first started the show, I was one of y'all. I was like, I'm not watching anything like this. Now I'm out here. Now you know how many shows I've watched in like 540 H or not even HD and SD, right? Watching in Shinjuku's face or Shinkiba. Like, come on, like that's just the revolution of it. So I understand where you're from. It just I've been there before. I happen to have more information than you. I've been down a journey, if you will, towards finding a wrestling I've liked. And I've been tried to open in good faith. I don't think these people are willing to try in good faith, and this is what you've been talking. This is what you're talking about. Like, these people aren't trying in good faith, so like, why should we pay attention to what y'all got to say?
100%.
Yeah,
I used to be like them too. That's the thing.
See,
I think
all three of us
people from, if you grew up watching wrestling in North America, 9 times out of 10, your origin comes from WWE. We all grew up on it. Right. But there's a significant, and I think specifically for my generation, like I said, I'm 26. I was born in 1998. So like when WCW folded, I was like 3. So like for my generation specifically, people genuinely don't know a life outside of one company. And I used to be one of those ignorant people who believed everything that was told to me of just, well, this is the only thing that matters. And New Japan is an indie. And I've never revealed this about myself before. But before I started watching Japanese wrestling, I remember getting a glimpse at a PWI list. And
who the fuck are these people?
I saw no, it wasn't even that. It was just like I saw Kenny Omega ranked over Roman Reigns. I said, who the fuck is that? And it's so crazy because like now, like I'm like obsessed. Like that's like my favorite wrestler of all time, Kenny Omega. But like I said, I used to be one of those ignorant people. And so like I understand, but it comes a time, and this is going to be even crazier thing, but might as well take it there, especially in the light of the Vince lawsuit. And the reason why I say this is because what people have to realize is whether you like it or not, you have been indoctrinated with information. Depending on when you entered as a wrestling fan, I've been a fan for almost 18 years. So like for most of my life, my view of wrestling was made in the image of a sexual predator and creep.
Right. He artoured, he curated. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And the thing is, even whether you believe the allegations or not, guess what? You know what you can believe, which you can know for a fact.
The content on the screen.
Literally, the nigga been weird. Like, let's not act like giving birth to hands and shit. I look back into where I had a pretty sheltered childhood. So much of what I learned about sex and innuendo came from wrestling because of the crazy stuff that I saw on screen. And like, that is quite literally true. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, for a while, it was a TV-14 product, like, whatever. But let's not act, it was never normal. And that's why I'm so passionate about the current state of women's wrestling. Because if we don't keep pushing for more aggression, more stiffer product, more violence, there is an active movement to go back to the era when girls were just looking pretty.
What does that sound like?
Yeah, regression to the progression, which,
And my thing is also...
Yeah.
it's one of those things to where I feel like this. I feel like so many, when you teach young boys early that when they grow up, women literally fight and rip each other's clothes off, and it's just everything in wrestling revolves around a man, to the point where when they finally become adults, they feel cheated because what do you mean everybody's working now? Like, what do you mean like these girls are actually here to work? Like these, so many of these men literally feel cheated. Like, why did it have to not be my turn by the time I got grown up? And
it also that sounds very similar to the way dudes talk about how they like, what happened to sticking through marriages. Like, oh, because people ain't slaves, because these women ain't slaves no more, fool.
Quite literally.
Your grandma was a slave. Your grandma got married at 15 to a 25-year-old.
Absolutely, because you got to think women couldn't even open up bank accounts until what, the 70s by themselves.
Right, slave.
Exactly. And so it's just one of those things of, especially now, I feel in the midst of the suit, a lot of people are doubling down, or they're just like, well, he's out of sight, out of mind. I can't see him. He's not here.
The bad man gone.
Everything is so different now. Everything is so different. And it's insane, because if it was anything else, if a leader left, but their entire family was still there, the leadership and everything. Listen, if this was Love and Hip Hop Atlanta,
if this was the YSL court case,
if this was the YSL, exactly.
Co-conspirators, all of them.
Everybody's conspiracy theorists. And like I said, I say what I want because at the end of the day, nobody can do anything to me. Nobody can do. I'm never going to fight you for WWE credentials. Never going to fight you for connections. I'm a freelancer. I am completely independent. I fly myself out. I done been somewhere before. Nobody can tell me anything. Like, literally can tell me anything about, well, you don't understand. I just want people to be honest about who they are. When people, if you don't care, and that's why a man told me flat out, during WrestleMania, he said, I'm gonna be honest, I don't care about them allegations. I'm just trying to enjoy wrestling.
I saw that.
I respect that. Now, do I agree with you? Absolutely not.
Right.
But I respect the people who are honest enough to say, like, guess what? I don't care enough to let this impede on my hobby. Like, I just don't care enough.
Right.
But y'all will have that same audacity and then have the nerve to like start openly going after people. Be like, you saw Tony Khan's tweet? I can't believe you watched that show. Huh? You saw that? Right. Did you see that affidavit? Did you see that affidavit?
Did you
that 60-page affidavit?
Did you see these redacted names? Like,
do you know how many people referenced in those court documents were on screen during WrestleMania?
Right. Who is corporate officer 1, 2, and 3?
And my thing is, you want to do all that, and guess what? For the most part, like, I wasn't coming after nobody night. The thing is, how I look at WrestleMania, I think that in wrestling, we're all cousins, right? And I think that some of us split off and we leave, etc. But WrestleMania feels kind of like, for better or worse, it's the family reunion. So everybody goes, everybody like congregates online, etc. And so I realized for this day, it's really important to people, so I shut up. But what I don't understand,
yeah.
It's just, but what I don't understand is that everybody gets to enjoy their milestones in silence. And oh my gosh, I got WrestleMania. Yeah, I'm going to Royal Rumble. Yes, everybody gets to enjoy their milestones.
Mm-hmm.
But when anybody, whether it's wrestler, whether it's a fan, whether it's a content creator, whether it's media, if you do anything for AEW or anywhere else, even New Japan or anything else, it's kind of like, oh, this doesn't matter. And my thing is that of just, I'm fine with you liking what you like. If you decided that this ain't a deal breaker for you, that's cool. But this constant side-eyeing, subtweeting, private quote tweeting, talking shit behind people's backs, fake blackballing with no power, crazy. These intimidation tactics, like all this slick talking, cut it. Like cut it. If you like what you like, that's fine. but continuously trying to like drive people out of this space for not having having a different opinion, you're too old for that. And
it's identity politics.
It is. And I say this as a 26-year-old because a lot of the younger people who want to break in this space, they come to me and like they DM me and they're just like, I see what you go through. And I'm going to be honest, that's why I'm scared to start a podcast because I don't think I can handle it. It's just like y'all are genuinely scaring people. Like y'all, and it's for whoever it's for. Like, like this one is actually who it's for, whoever it's for, because I can take it. Like, you know, like I have a background, like I was built for this shit. But it's genuinely affecting the future. Like it's genuinely affecting the future. There are so many talented young Black people who want to get in this space, who are interested in alternative wrestling, who are interested in international wrestling, whose lives don't center around the Stanford axis, but y'all withhold support to make it seem like, oh yeah, you can do this, but we won't trust, we won't support you, we won't help you. We won't let you on our podcast platforms. We'll never offer you a guest host. We'll never retweet your shit unless you do this for me. And I'm tired of y'all scaring the hoes. Like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of it. Like, and then all this sneak going back for, get in the booth. That's what these podcast mics are for. My platform is always open to anybody who ever want to square off, like word to word, mouth to mouth. I see you, you see me, we see each other. That's all I got.
And like a lot of this, you know, to loop it back around to like, you know, the title changing and, you know, going on a Black wrestler, it was, you know, some people act like this was, you know, just this thing that was never going to happen, you know, in AEW at least. And
then it did.
So now,
and now they have now they don't know what to do now.
Scrambling, gambling.
They're scrambling. Yeah.
And it's not just Swerve. That's the thing, y'all. It's not just Swerve. And I said this weekend. You see how many Black people are on AEW weekly TV? Shane Taylor Promotions always booked.
Yep.
Top Flight and Private Party always booked. Yep. Red Velvet, Queen Aminata. Athena was even back on TV.
Yep.
Mercedes is always on TV. Willow's always on TV. Swerve and Nana are always on TV.
Hobbs.
And not just on screen, behind the screen. Will Washington.
Kosher Irby.
Is it Irby?
I'm glad you said that. Keep going before I say that.
Yeah, like we have two people. We have two Black people in major management in AEW. I don't think there's ever been one in WWE ever.
Clocking?
Yeah.
I think, thank you for bringing that part up. For me, that's what I'm interested in. That's what matters to me. Like at the end of the day, this media shit, wrestling media is not real. I just want to start there. But what is real is my sport and entertainment management degree. So administration is real. Like that's real. That's real power. Because honestly, and I said this about women's wrestling and the WNBA and women's basketball, when that man asked that stupid question to Caitlin Clark, because women's sports cannot evolve until everything's evolved. It can't just be the players. It has to be behind the scenes. Same thing goes for Black wrestling, right? It's one thing to have Black world champions, right? But we've done that before. We need Black executives.
Yeah.
We need Black actually executive and creative who are making the decisions. That's what interests me. For example, like there's still mountains to climb. You know, like we've made a lot of progress with Black men. You know, you have Will Washington doing wrestling administration in AEW, have Kosher Irby, you know, on live events, which is a huge deal. He actually came from Clemson, which is from my home state, even though it's my rival. But I'm a Gamecock. I know.
I
gotta be honest.
We do not rock with Devils.
I saw you during the Final Four. I saw
you. I'm a Gamecock. I do have to be honest, but at the same time, like, there's been no Black women who've ever like crossed these type of barriers and stuff like that. That's what's interesting to me. Like those are things that's interesting to me. And my thing is, when you tell a company you're not diverse enough and you want change, that's what I'm interested to see. And when a company does it, nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Oh,
seriously.
Forgot Rocky as well.
Yeah, Rocky Romero.
Rocky Romero.
I forgot a third one.
Rocky is the GOAT. And I think it's just it's so frustrating to me because I only foresee it getting nastier in the next few weeks because it's already starting. The discourse today earlier about Willow and Mercedes is already starting because people genuinely want to make Mercedes pay. Like they want her to see her suffer. They want her to fail.
Yep.
They want revenge because they feel betrayed. How dare you leave
She left
home?
them.
Yeah. I saw somebody online, and obviously we have idiots everywhere. I saw someone say that like Kofi was like dead to them because he congratulated Swerve on Twitter publicly.
It's crazy.
What?
It's nuts. Like it's nuts. Like none of these people are real. And it's, don't get me wrong, like I understand. I'm not saying that black wrestlers in WWE are not making progress because like I see the Twitch chat, right? Like I get it. Like Trick Williams is actually, he went to my high school and my college, both my alma maters. Like I am ecstatic to see him be successful. But there's also this. Think about it. When you looked at WrestleMania 40, how many of those stars were under 30?
Right.
Like, let's just be real. And even the main event, big on nostalgia. And I will say that's WWE's bestseller. They can sell nostalgia.
Their whole main event scene in the men's single side is all 35-ish. You know.
But it is, there's seriously
38-ish and up.
Yes, 38 and up. And there's no excuse why Braun Breaker shouldn't have been on that card. There's no excuse that Tiffany Stratton shouldn't have been on that card. Carmella was in NXT way too long. But the thing is, you have this warehouse. And so the idea of the warehouse itself being for rising stars, that alone, people will just take that and run with it. But are you actually elevating them? Are you, and we keep talking like what I said about Montez, right? We keep talking about the future. What about the now? I want to talk about now, today. And let's think about it. Which side are the true stars under 35 today getting opportunities to be stars right now?
It's AEW, and it's going to continue to be
Swerve's
AEW.
34 years old.
Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, Jay White, literally all of these guys under 35.
Darby Allin is 20 still.
Kyle Fletcher, Darby, Jack Perry,
Garcia,
under 30. Going over to the women's side, Mercedes herself is what, 33? Willow is still in her 20s. Toni Storm is still in her 20s. Mm-hmm. Jamie Hayter turned 29 today. Like, and when we talk about investing in the youth, and then you like, I just don't get it. And
I think as you mentioned before, like some people are caught up on nostalgia, so like it takes forever for people to get that attachment in WWE to get something moving for you. Like, I mean, you have success stories like LA Knight, but LA Knight is very charismatic. He always was very charismatic. Absolutely. Even though people that weren't watching him, you could just watch his NWA stuff, or even when he was, TNA, and you could tell like, oh yeah, that's a very talented dude. Yeah, yes, it's very rockish, Ric Flairish, but talented nonetheless. And he finally got a shot at his ripe old age of late 30s when he was, in NXT, or I'm sorry, FWC with Dean Ambrose as a roommate. Like he mentioned, when is the now? And the now is LA Knight in his late 30s. He's finally getting to the show.
Is he 40?
Yeah, he's 40.
He might be older. Yeah, he might be 40.
Like I said, if that floats your boat, that's fine. But like, I'm just really fed up of, if you're so happy with that product, be happy over there. Seriously. Yeah. Like this whole rain on everybody's parades, like it's starting now with Double or Nothing, and be like, well, I just care about Willow, and I don't. What if she's a transit? Shut up! You don't care. You know what? If I asked you right now to name me a Willow Nightingale match that was not with Mercedes, you can't do it. You can't do it. If I asked you to name me Willow's last 3 hair colors, you can't do it. Enough! I have had it of just like, well, Mercedes just shouldn't be able to go in and be handed anything. Listen, Mercedes laid down for every last one of your faves. Every last one of them, whether she should have or not, in that company. Her being the youngest out of the bunch, the one who should have been built to be the ROG, the star, she laid down for every last one of them. She never walked out of a WrestleMania with a belt until that tag title run, and we saw how that went. She literally, it's one thing if she came in and just said, I just want to take the world title. She is fighting for a television championship. The woman asked for her first match to be a television championship, and y'all still are finding reasons to cry. And it's just like, that's why I say, like, this is so much bigger than Swerve at this point. This is a bigger conversation. And the thing is, if nobody else is going to have it, I'm going to have it because it's fucked up. Like, it's getting to the point to where I feel like a lot of us were just like, oh, this is just normal. We can just ignore it. It is what it is. But it's very clear, like, this is a concerted effort to try to, like, erase, diminish, and belittle the accomplishments of Black wrestlers when they decide not to stick to the status quo. And that has to be nipped in the bud, or else the future implications of it, we are heading for an even worse path for in wrestling for Black wrestlers than we've already seen. Like, even worse.
And it's very disheartening when it's being perpetuated by people that also appear to be Black on Twitter. Yeah.
And a lot of it, and the thing is, it's just for people who are on Twitter, like
people blackfishing on Twitter.
That's why I said people that appear to be.
That's the truth, and I think also for those who are a little bit deeper in it, of just that's just the public side of it. We, like, some of us know what the private conversations, things behind closed doors, and in these discords and in these private chats and these private quote tweets, what's being said then, because a lot of people like are silent publicly and then hide their hand. It's just like, it's getting nasty to where you can't say it's anything. Like, I had somebody literally tell me on Twitter that it's like that. Do you think that there's a concerted effort against you right now? Like people trying to shut you up? Shit, it might be.
Could be.
It could be. I don't, like I said, I don't care. Nobody can take anything.
The shit that I see that people send to you is vile, and it's like y'all would not be sending this to me or Rich. And me and Rich get a share. Rich get a great deal more than me because, like, I just more or less stay away from saying stuff. But yeah, like it is just full on, like, this is a Black woman. What business she have having an opinion, especially one that differs from mine? I'm going to.
And what the fuck is she talking about that Japanesey wrestling? Oh no, we can't have that.
It's a whole different level, because it's just like, one, you got to think. We've been conditioned to believe that, one, Black wrestling only matters in WWE. We've been conditioned to believe that women's wrestling is not much at all. And then we've also been conditioned to believe that foreign wrestlers are not legit players in America. Right. That foreign wrestlers are the comedic relief. They're this foreign heel invasion, etc. Like, everything that I intentionally stand for, a lot of people are going to hate. I'm aware of that. Like, listen, I have a background in politics and activism. Like I said, I could literally do this shit all day. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, I won't be deterred. But the comments that, like, when I say, like, people are getting really nasty things, like, in their DMs and their mentions, like, the things that are said to women, it's just like, how do I say it? I've never seen Black women specifically be so unprotected, simply for an opinion. Like, it's one thing, like, you would think that I've really shot somebody. Like, I shot somebody's dog, like, over some wrestling takes. Like, that's how people act. And it's just like, people are seeing that. Like, people are seeing that and saying, oh, I don't want to join this space. Oh, I don't feel included. And, like, Black wrestling is already such a small group. So to continue to alienate people and exile them even further is insane. And it doesn't say a lot for the preservation of us going forward much longer.
Yeah, I just wish there was something that I don't even know how to say it. Like it's just it's so much like that. I see you go through, and and you don't always know how to. Not you in particular. Like just like I see that stuff, and it's like, is this like real? Is this like, is this just like bullshit? Like, but people was really hurt out here. Deep seated hurt.
Right. Like you'll never know. Like you'll never know if it's a bot. You don't know if it's like an account. And also, like, a lot of times you'll find out that it's somebody that you may or may not know who makes a burner account. Like that's one thing about Twitter. Like you do or do not know. Like you genuinely don't know. You could be arguing with Elon Musk himself half the time. You genuinely don't know the difference, or what's them bots, pussy and bio. Like you never know who you're talking to half the time on there. But it's one of those things. Like I said, like mentally I'm tough, and so like I was not saying that is right, but like I said, I was built for this. But a lot of people aren't. And we always talk about how wrestling is such a niche. Sunday should have been a unifying experience to bring more fans in. And the fact that some people went out of their way to be like, actually, I don't even watch that show, but I want to make sure that you don't watch it either. Because this, that, and the third. And like, this is da-da-da-da-da-da. And I don't really care about anything else, but this one thing, you shouldn't watch it at all, actually. And I don't want anybody to be successful. I don't want anybody because this one thing, fuck everybody else that you got back in that locker room. I don't care. I don't watch it. Neither should you.
The tweets came out on cue. Like
only one thing should exist. Only one thing should exist.
Amazing. We should probably roll into the next match, but like I said, Swerve Strickland's the new champion. Y'all niggas got to deal with it.
Yeah. Okay. AEW World Tag